Hello everyone, welcome back to Imperium. So in today's lecture, we will be going through a project which is the student management system. So in the previous lectures, we have covered various clauses, query statements, and the important statements such as database, create database, that is use database. So I have this small project and I have divided it into sections so it would be much easier to understand. In the first section, we are creating the database and also using the database. So first we have the query, create database, student management, which will create a database named student management. And the use query means that we are currently using or storing the data or the queries that we are performing in that specific database. So use student management means all these queries will be stored in the student management database. Second is section 2, that is create table. So in that we have created three tables, that is the student table, the courses table, and the enrollments table. Now in student table, there is ID, that is student ID. There is name, email, and date of birth. First ID, we have given the data type int, and we have given auto increment, which means that it will give numbers in the incremental order, that is natural numbers in the incremental order as we insert the data into the students table. So we won't have to insert the IDs manually. And the primary key, as we all know, it is a combination of unique key and notional key. What primary key does is it does not allow same entries in a table. So if you put same IDs, it won't allow the second entry because it would be a copied ID or the ID would already be existing in the table. Because we are using the auto increment, there won't be a chance of that error. Next is name. I have used varchar, but there are also options. You can use text, that is text, text data type, or the char data type. There is not null, that means name cannot be nothing, like you cannot leave the name just blank, so that is the not null. Now there is unique and not null. Now you may ask that primary key is the combination of unique key and not null key, so why have we not just written primary key here also? So the thing is, in a table there can only be one primary key. That is the important point, that you can only assign primary key to one variable only, that is the we have assigned it to the id variable, so we cannot assign it to anything else because it won't be valid. It does not allow that. So that's why we have used unique and not null separately, so that emails are also unique and they are not, like null means nothing. Null doesn't means zero, null means nothing. So if you leave the email blank, it will not allow it. Same with date of birth. Date is the data type for any date that is in the format of year, month, and day. Next is the course table. In that we have courses ID, same auto increment primary key. Again we have the course name, we have description. So you can see the text data type can be used, varchar can be used here as well. Now there is enrollments. Now that is ID, that is enrollment ID. So number of enrollment, that is first enrollment, second, third, like that. In that we'll have the student ID, we'll have course ID, we'll have grade. Again you can see the third type that I mentioned, that is the character type. Foreign key, we are giving student ID foreign key because we have already an ID, student ID. and you can see that the naming or the naming is not same. Like here we are writing student ID, here we have just given ID, so it doesn't like give an error, it allows it, so that we are just taking the ID variable from the student table and we are stating it as student ID in the enrollments. We couldn't use ID for both because it would clash at both the elements would have the same name then. So that's why we have deferred them with student ID and course ID. We have given on delete cascade. We can also give on update cascade. It's a good practice. So what on delete cascade does is it it when you have a parent and child table, and if you try to delete something from the parent table, it does not delete or update that specific query or statement because the reference is given into the child table. So first you have to delete the child table and then you have to delete the entry from the parent table, which is just hectic and it just increases your work. So if let's say you entered your name wrong while inserting and you wanted to delete that, but your name is again or your ID is used in the enrollments table, you would have to delete the entire enrollments table and then you would have to delete the students table mega entry. That is the entry from the students table. So that is just extra work. So that's why we use on delete cascade and on update cascade. Now the third section is insert sample data. Now we all know insert into, then table name, and then if you don't write this, it doesn't matter. It's like considered a good practice. If you don't write this, it doesn't matter. It's just for the understanding of the programmer. That's it. Then we have the insert for courses and insert for enrollments. So this is the now you can see that there are only two entries because for this the ID enrollment ID is auto incremented, so it will give one for here, 2 3 here. So and these IDs are for the this is the student ID for the first enrollment, course ID for the first enrollment, likely student ID for the second enrollment, and course ID for the second enrollment, just like that. Now the CRUD operations. Now you might say that what are CRUD operations? There was no mention of CRUD operations in the previous lectures. So CRUD is just a acronym for create, read, update and delete. So worry not, you already know these operations. C means create, R means read. For read, it is the select star from, so don't get confused there. There is U that is update and D that is delete. So now we have select star from, that is read. Then we will take S, this is name as, this is aliasing. So S dot name is S, we are giving student name as S dot name. So that is just aliasing, nothing else. The S dot name means that the this is the table, you can say, and this is the variable, and we are giving S dot name as student name, same with C dot name as course name. Now this is the table enrollments, E student S on, this is the query. We know the joins, there are also 4 types of joins. If you recall, you can also type them in the comment section so you can prove that you have seen the lectures, and it would make me happy. Next is adding a new student, that is giving a new entry. This is insert into student. Now this is student grade updation. So that is for different courses. You can update student's grade, and this is the where clause, that is where the student ID is specific ID and course ID specific ID. You know this all the queries and clauses, so I believe it would be really easy for you to understand. Still, I'm just going step by step, so I'll just clear. If you have any doubt, it would just clear you. And at the end there is the delete statement, which will uh, delete from student, that is delete an entry from student where ID, that is the student ID, is some specific number. So I'll just run the code. First we'll go create database. It is giving error because the database is already created. Then we'll go use. The use statement you have to use always. Like if you just close the compiler, like if you close the app, that is the MySQL workbench, and you open it again, the database would be there, so you won't need to use this query again, that is the create database. But the use and the database name, that query you have to use, because it needs to render and it needs you to specify which database you are choosing now or using now. Because I can use the database Garvit, or I can use the customer demo database. So it wants, or it requires you to use this statement always. So I'll run it. Now it is, now the compiler knows that we are using the student database, student management database. I'll just create these tables. Okay, so now again you can see error because the tables are already created. If you want to check your table source procedures functions, you can know that there are the tables. In this you can also see the columns in says what are the main inputs, that is the ID, name, email, etc, etc. That is for, this is for the course, that is ID, name, description. Indexes means what are the keys used, so primary keys used. There is foreign key. Have you used any triggers? No. Foreign keys? No. Foreign keys it would show you for the enrollments table. So in this you can see there would be foreign keys. You can see there are foreign keys. Just like that. So create table is already run. Now I believe that insert are also done. So I'll just go here and select this query, that is select. I'll run it. So yes, the inserts were also there, and this is only showing two elements because I guess there is this delete from students, that way. I'll just run the insert query again. It will input like extra characters, nothing else. This one. Now after this, let's say insert into this, after the select query. Now it is showing duplicate because we already have it. Like if you do this and select it, there is already the email alice@example.com in use. That's why it is showing error. Like you can, I'll just drop the database and run it again as it is giving errors. So now after doing this, just use this, and now we can, like it will work smoothly now because there were already entries. It was giving a bit, you know, problems. So now you can see all the queries are running smoothly. So I'll again create the tables. So these are the three tables we have created: students, courses, enrollments. Now the insert queries. So there are two examples in the insert, that is John and Jane. So in the students, these are the two students. Again, there is mathematics and science as the courses, and there are three entries in the enrollments table. So that is three entries for, let's say, different subject, or like onto the, excuse me, now onto the crude operations. We have the select query, and now you can see there are three inputs. These are the three inputs that the Jane Smith has chosen mathematics as the course, and grade, for the grade he got is A. And for John Doe, in mathematics he has gotten A, and in science he has gotten B. Now we will add new student. So we added a new student. Again, if we run this, now it is not showing it here in this table because we have added it into the students table. So if we just give select star from student, there should be three entries. So you can see John Doe, Jane Smith, and Alice Johnson. This is the new entry that has been added into the students table. Now we can update the grades. So I want to set the grade A plus instead of A. So the student ID 1, which is for John Doe, and course 2. So in course 2, that means science, John Doe had B, as you can see here. He had the grade B, and I want to change it to A plus. That is why I would use this query. After this, if I again check this query, it should show A plus. Yes, you can see in science he has gotten A plus. So that is the update query. And now deleting a student record, that is, let's say some student has passed out of the college. So just to like clear the memory, we can just delete the students records. So I want to delete the student from id2. We'll just see who is on id2, that is in this table. So on id2, that is Jane Smith, and if we delete this record and run this select query again, we would only get the results of John Doe. As you can see, we only have his results because we just deleted the Jane Smith inputs. So this is the small student management system. This is just the backend. With this, integration of frontend is optional. Like for student project, you can just do this, like similar type of projects. There is hotel management, then there is hospital management system, like the bed working or the patient name, appointments, that comes under hospital. In hotel management, it's the menu, reservations, etc. One other good system would be railway management system. There are reservation for tickets, the seats, number of seats, passengers, all that. So there are many management systems. You can do project on any of them, and if you are capable, you can also add the front end. So most common ways to use MySQL, that is backend with front end, is the language PHP and Java. So for Java, there is JDBC, that is the Java database connection. So you can use those two language to integrate the backend and also make a front end for the project. So that was it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask them in the comments, and thank you for watching.